everyone, and good afternoon. Welcome to this week's new X Vlog Live. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, and of course, with my co-host here, C Money. If you remember, last week we were absentees from the X Vlog Live episode, and we couldn't say why. Well, now we can talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. C Money and Doodle were at the same event that I was in New York City. We got a chance to sit down and play an extensive part of South of Midnight, which we cannot talk about. What we are going to open the show with is our personal experiences there. It's something that I don't get a chance really to do. I like sharing my experiences with the community because obviously I have been invited, and C Money and the missus were invited because we have shows that you fine folks tune into. And if we didn't have you to tune into the shows, we probably wouldn't get invited. So this is really a two-way street. We want to kind of share our experience. But C Money, hey brother, welcome back. How's everything?
Great, man. Great. Very good times right now. So we're digging it, man. Glad to be back. I know it was a few weeks now, right? Or 2 weeks, something like that.
I think it's been 1 or 2 weeks, yeah.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. So glad to be back, man. This is dope. So
well, listen, before we get actually into the show itself, we are going to be covering two other topics. Now, one of which comes the way of Hazardor Gaming, as many of our conversations have come by, because he is a very prominent member of the community with, dropping news bombs. And we're going to be talking a bit about Final Fantasy VII Remake, Rebirth, and Final Fantasy 16. And according to Nate the Hate, we should be getting an announcement soon enough. I kind of just want to poll the community to see who is actually excited for these games. We'll get into that as well. And we also have new information that comes the way. Once again, Hazardor Gaming, I didn't even know about this until I just saw it. Unfortunately, there is a round of additional layoffs at Sony PlayStation Studios. This time it comes the way of their software department. And the only reason why we know this is because who is Yosuke, I believe it's how it's pronounced, on Twitter, just talked about not only him being laid off, but his entire team. We will break that down because there is a lot of stuff going on at Sony. Obviously, with all the cancellations of games in, of course, the realm of gas games as a service, it appears that there's going to be more and more layoffs because these are teams that are no longer working on anything. The direction of Sony has changed dramatically from 12 gas games to potentially just 2. One of which continues to get support in Helldivers 2. If you didn't know, they just stealth dropped the PlayStation 5 Pro update for Helldivers 2. Obviously, if you have a PlayStation 5 Pro and you own the game, you should definitely go check that out. And I'm sure that it's up the ante with its graphics and its frames, but we'll see when someone reports on it. I can't tell you because I don't have a Pro. But C Money, last Thursday, I was unbelievably surprised to meet you and Doodle. Now, again, he kept it a secret that he was going to be at this event. I had told him, "Hey, listen, this is what I'm doing. This is why we can't do the show." And when they walked in, I was like, "Oh my God, it's C Money and Doodle. This is great. We're actually meeting in IRL, as the kids like to say." And of course, there were other people there. We got a chance to hang out with two of the finest members of this community, King David and Lord Cognito. But I also got a chance to hang out with Greg Miller. Greg was so freaking welcoming. Took my business card. I said, "Hey, Greg, can I give my business card?" He took it. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. Now, is anything actually going to happen? Probably not. I don't think I'm going to be the next guest invited to Kind of Funny Games, though. That would be kind of dope if it happens. So, Paris, if you're listening, I know you're always listening, brother, and we appreciate it here. Kind of throw that into Greg's ear. But getting back to the event, this was the Compulsion Gains event, celebrating and showing off to us for the first time South of Midnight. Now, though we can't actually give you any deets to what the gameplay was like, because obviously we're under NDA and we cannot talk about it until the 11th. Then everyone's going to have videos that went to this event and you'll be able to hear our thoughts. I've actually recorded my video already. I got my gameplay ready, locked and loaded. So next week I'll drop that, as well as my Avowed review, which I'm still playing. But see, Money, this is one of the first events that you were invited to, and I gotta say, even though this is probably my third or fourth event, like you, I had giant stars in my eyes because it felt surreal. Like you guys and gals got to understand something. When you start a YouTube channel, there is no guarantee for success whatsoever. And the fact that we were in the same event, doing, playing the game, getting hands on, talking with the team one on one. And I got to tell you, everyone there was so excited to talk about
Absolutely.
the game. You can tell that it was authentic through the music. The sets that they brought with them were completely brilliant. And when I cut this down into a video, folks, I'm going to be, obviously there's going to be some gameplay, not of South of Midnight, something else, because I can't talk about it to the 11th, but I'm going to be showing off some of the set pieces that they had there. See, Money, I want to get your thoughts on the event itself. How did you and the missus feel being there? What were your experiences talking to the team? We want to share our experience with you, and now we got a chance to hang out and do that. Break it down for us, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, this was really wild. Excuse me. Like you said, this was our first kind of official event that we went to, and it was really dope. Like, first of all, it was cool as shit to meet you in person, right? We see each other for
it was so awesome, brother.
Excuse me. For a year and such, and now it's like we got to actually meet. So that was really dope. That was really, really cool. Yeah, no, it was crazy. Like, they did not, like, it's at the Microsoft store in New York. So like, who knew that if you went upstairs, they have like all this extra stuff up there that they actually use. Like, it's not just a store. And it was really dope. We got to meet everybody, met tons of people from the team. Microsoft, like, Compulsion has already released the short, so that's out there in the world. So which is dope. All those figures that you saw, that's all like, we saw all the behind the scenes on how they made that. And man, it's so dope. It's so dope. Like, when you look at the puppets that they made, they're huge. They, you touch them, they're malleable. Like, they're not like rinky dinky stuff. Like, this is really like well-made stuff. We have pictures. If you go on Twitter, we put some pictures already from the event, from our stuff. But when you see that video, and like, those puppets are big, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not a small thing that they're zooming in on. No, these are like really big figures, and they're just so cool. Those people, we thankfully we had a chance to interview them, so we will be posting that interview as well once the preview goes live. So we will have that as well. So they were really dope, the studio who makes that short. But yeah, we got a chance to talk to the studio head of Compulsion, and we got to interview him, and we talked to Chris and Zaire, who is the writer and the music. So Chris is the music or the audio head, and Zahir is one of the writers. And we got to interview them and kind of really dig deep on what they felt going into the project. Like, it's a great interview. We'll have all that stuff going live, but just like the feeling of it, man, they decked out that place, that room. You walk in there and you felt like you were transported into South of Midnight. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got the feel perfect. The mood was right. Everything was just so dope. It was really cool, man. It was really cool getting to meet all these people and just talking about the game, kind of chatting it up, meeting people from Xbox, meeting people from the team, meeting, obviously other content creators. There's people from, news outlets like The Verge and all these other stuff that were there.
Yeah.
So it was dope, man. It was really cool to be there. Really thankful that, we were invited. So it's really cool, man. We loved it. I loved it. I mean, I don't want to go too like. I want to talk about the stuff, but you gotta stop yourself because we can't really talk about.
Again, that like for me personally, one of the things that is very difficult to do is because I like to talk, which is why I have 5 shows a week, right? But it's like what I'm doing with Avowed, my time with South of Midnight. We're on the NDA. We can't speak about these things, but honestly, it's it's wanting to bust out of me, right? Like to kind of just talk about it, how excited we were, how excited we are to be a part of the process. I mean, again, this is one of those events that you walk in and you immediately tell that the team is a bit nervous, because the one thing that they did stress to us is we were actually the first people to get hands-on with the game that wasn't a part of the team. They got to understand how big of a deal that is for Compulsion Games. And you can tell how passionate they were about making it as authentic as possible, using real world lore to tell this story of Hazel, her mom, and everyone that you're going to meet during your journey. The characters themselves, the bosses. I think that one of the things that when you walked in, C Money really hit it on the head here. It felt like you were transported into Compulsion Games imagination. Like the sound, the music that's playing in the background was literally from the game. Like even like the chirps of the birds you heard in there, because they had this giant screen that was like a living it was like a living screen. And when the wind blew, you saw like branches moving. I don't know how they actually did it, but it was just an incredible experience. And again, tip of spear is getting a chance to not only hang out with my brothers, which of course is Cognito and King David. I got a chance to meet C Money and the missus, who I've worked with for over a year, and we've only ever talked either on the phone or through podcasting. And to meet in real life, that's the excitement. That's the exciting part of it. And like I said, I just can't wait for everyone to see our impressions, to get, some of the stuff that we recorded in the background, to get these interviews up. I'm not exactly sure how much of the gameplay we can actually use for the preview. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the one level that we were able to play, but I will get some confirmation. And of course, if I can use, they sent me home with footage to use. And that's the other thing, C Money. Like you come to these events and we're hanging out, we're having fun, but you're also working, right? You're working for your channel to deliver content that you hope people are going to tune into. And the one thing I have to give Microsoft a ridiculous amount of credit for, and I kind of want you to comment on this, is how accommodating they are, how welcoming they are to content creators, big and small. Because Greg Miller, he's Greg Miller, for crying out loud. He created Kind of Funny Games. It's a multi-million-dollar thing that he has going on over there. And he was in this. I was standing right next to him, and I have less than 16,000 subscribers. And I will say, to Greg's credit, he doesn't make you feel any smaller than than him. That dude was incredibly welcoming. I had a great time talking with him. I probably spoke to him for about 20 minutes. It was great. It was an unbelievable experience. But getting back to Microsoft, C Money, they sent us home. Like when we get there, they sit you down at the station. We're all playing on Series X consoles. We're not playing on PC. There were Series X consoles. And, Jeff comes over, Jeff Rubenstein, who is, obviously a big part of the PR for Xbox, comes over and sits us down and says, okay, here's the recorder, here's the memory card, stop. He tells you what to do. And they send you home with all your game footage. And on top of that, we find out just as we're leaving that, we're going to send it to your console through our program. You guys are on the list now. Now we're in it, C Money. Now we are now in it because we're getting Avowed, we're getting South of Midnight sent right to the console. It's insane. Let's get. What are your thoughts on how accommodating Jeff and
No, they
Xbox
were
was?
wild. They were wild. Yeah, they like I didn't realize how hands-on they are with like they're like watching, like they're sitting there and they're like watching you play, and they'll come over and they'll say, "Hey, you need anything?" They'll bring you water. They're like keeping you go. Like they're super dope people, man. And they were accommodating. We didn't have to bring any of that stuff. Like they supplied us with the card, with the SD card. They had a capture station there, so you're just playing the game and just recording, right? And then they're just send it right home with you. It really was dope. And one of the dopest parts for us is that after the event, well, not the whole event, but like after that kind of first part where you do the gameplay, they, you were allowed to interview, right? Which is dope, but
Yes.
not just interview. So we did interview the other people right in that same room, the people who did the short. But Microsoft is so dope, and Jeff Rubenstein and all those people were so awesome to meet. They did a podcast there. Okay, they did a podcast upstairs, and they had it all set up for them. So the actual official Xbox podcast that you guys, I'm sure have seen, right? That they interview different, the devs. They do the show normally, but then they also do deep dives with devs, right? They had the room set up, and instead of just, taking it down, they actually let us use their official setup to go do the interview. So we interviewed the people right on the same setup, on the same stage that they did the show. So when you see official Xbox podcast for that particular for I'm not going to say what they did, but for the one that they did, if you look at that background and that setup, we also did it. When you see our video, they did the whole recording, all the lights, the mics, everything. Is wild. Is wild. They edited it. You know what I'm saying? They had a double camera setup. So, it was like, actually 3 cameras, because there was one facing them, one facing us, and then one facing everyone. Dude, it was sick, bro. It was so sick. I can't believe it. And we they sent us, they uploaded everything. So we have all the video. It's so dope. So dope. What an experience, man. It was very, very cool to kind of be able to get that access and check it out. Very exciting. And like you said, man, they sent the games. We had them right away. So, we were able to play that demo also just in the comfort of our home. So it's not just like there with people watching you. You go home and just hit that demo up, or do your own recording as well from there. So you can kind of do whatever you want to do. It's dope. It's dope. Very excited. Can't wait for you guys to see all of the coverage come the 11th.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting. I cannot wait to share the actual interview, as well. And it's just going to be so interesting to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff. To get our personal take, show some gameplay of what to expect, because there is a lot of excitement building at Xbox right now. The first 2 big bombs of the year, Avowed is 7 days away, and then of course right after that you're going to have in April a double whammy. You got South of Midnight opening up the month, and closing out the month is Obscure 33, Expedition 33, which looks absolutely astounding. And 2 of those 3 games are exclusives. Now, how long they stay exclusives is irrelevant. Whether they stay exclusive 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, that's not what you should be worried about. You should be excited that these 2 games are coming out into Xbox Game Pass. Right now, you have an opportunity to get the $90 edition of Avowed for $22 if you have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which is, I mean, how do you go wrong with that? And more importantly, how do you turn that into a negative? That's been my conundrum with some of the people in this community. I get it. I'm the old man in the room almost every time. Almost 10 out of 10 times, I'm probably the oldest guy that's here. And if not for the chat, I'm definitely the oldest guy on the podcast, and certainly in the circles we run. And I have accepted it. And I've accepted it with open arms that Microsoft, they're a corporation, they want to make money, but they're still feeding me great. I'm still eating like a king. And that is what you should be worried about. I know I see the conversations. I mean, there's a particular person in the chat that is trying to get his point across about Forza being and running better on PlayStation 5. Who said that? Where's the confirmation? The game isn't coming out until spring. It's going to run on Xbox just as well as it's always run. And if it runs a little bit better on Pro, I'm sure that Xbox is going to do some things to make it run equally as well, if
Man,
not
it's a
already.
new console. It's a new console.
So
So the PlayStation 5 Pro, it better fucking have something that's decent, right? Like it's
right.
a new console. I think at the end of the day, the people who keep bringing that up are the people who want to keep that flame going.
Yes,
Right?
I agree.
They're trying to stoke the flame, right? They're trying to keep they want you, like, it blows my mind because these dudes, they'll clip you and they'll say you're crying. Like, ain't nobody crying, dog. Not one time. I don't care.
Nothing
I
to
don't
cry
care.
about.
Listen, you can go and you could tell me, yeah, but last year you said this. Yeah. Again, I know, like, I have a lot of cousins. Like, I grew up in the hood. I have a lot of cousins who still live in the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they couldn't realize that sometimes you gotta change, right? You gotta move forward, right? So yes, when I was deep into the idea of my console versus your console, right? Yeah, of course, I was doing the same thing, right? But again, new information allows me to make new decisions.
There you
And
go.
I have the information. I said it from day one. I don't care. It's whatever Phil and the team say. Once Phil and the team say it, once Phil and the team make it real, then I will decide what I think and what I feel. And at the end of the day, there's no skin off my back, bro.
Exactly.
Especially I see what they're doing. I see the vision. I see exactly what they're having happen. When you can look at them and say that last year they were the #1 publisher in the world. No, I'm sorry, last month they were the #1 publisher in the world, or was it December? What are we in? We're already in February,
it
right?
was
Yeah, I think
it was reported that they were in December, now have become the #1 publisher in gaming.
#1 publisher in the world. What does that mean to me? I don't know. When I look at this year and I see that every month I have either a first party Xbox game or a major third party day and date game going into my Game Pass, that is what I'm here for, right?
Yep.
That's what I see. I got the games. They're giving me my games in Game Pass. I don't care anything else. If you go ahead and you want to buy that game, do it, bro.
By all means. Yeah.
Keep funding our Game Pass. That's what I want, right? I want you to do it. I beg you to do it. Keep getting excited. Hey, you guys think you're winning, right? Great. Please keep posting. Keep posting. Keep saying, look at all the games coming from Xbox to PlayStation. Keep doing it. Make them big post. Deck it all out, right? Make sure you just keep doing it. Keep sharing it. Make sure everybody knows that Xbox is taking over the PlayStation platform. Let everybody know that those people who only buy 1 or 2 games a year will now most likely be taking their 2 games worth of money and spending it on Xbox instead of a first party PlayStation game. Keep doing that. Keep that rocking. I'm all for it. I live for it. Thank you so much. I hope you all enjoy playing these games and paying for them. I'm getting them for El Gratis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm getting them for El Gratis. So,
I want to add some context to what you're saying. Now, I don't know if you know him personally. I don't, but I follow him. He follows me. Snap Last Play, right? He's on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, he likes to put up a lot of posts. He put out a particular post regarding what you just said, and I think it's an interesting thought and theory. I kind of want to just, maybe we'll sink our teeth into this a little bit. He brought up a post that PlayStation players are going to be getting their 1 game per year from PlayStation first party, whereas Xbox is going to be getting 1 per quarter. And if we know anything about this year, it's more than 1 per quarter. It's probably 1 every 2 months, right? So for the 12-month period, you're probably getting 6 first-party games. And we're not talking about slouches. We're not talking about indies. Just look at what they're doing for the start of the year. You got Avowed, right? You got South of Midnight. You still got Fable. You still got the Outer Worlds 2. You got the new Call of Duty. Supposedly, we're getting something Gears related, right? That's the running rumor. Whether it be Gears of War E-Day this year or Gears of War Marcus Phoenix trilogy, we're getting something from Gears. Phil was just at the Coalition studio checking out what they're doing. He's not there for no reason, right? So that's 6 games right there, and there are still others, right? There are still others that I forgot on the list, and I think that's an interesting point. And this is another one. Most of the work that's being done to deliver games to PlayStation are coming from Xbox. I don't really think anyone is putting a rubber stamp on that. Your PlayStation players, listen, you're welcome here to hang out, and we love you just the same. But you got to admit, Sony ain't feeding you. You are being fed this year by Xbox games left, right, and center. Right? There's some rumor talk about a Starfield announcement happening in the next couple of weeks. Well, we know what that announcement is going to be. It's releasing on PlayStation after 2 years of exclusivity on Xbox. So you're going to add that to the Indiana Jones. You're going to add that to Doom the Dark Ages. You're going to add that to the Call of Duty. You're going to add that to the Outer Worlds 2. Now Forza Horizon 5. And if it's Starfield, wow, what a lineup for PlayStation players via Xbox Game Studios. And I really don't think people are talking about that. And that is
they know
really,
exactly what's happening, Boom.
Yeah.
They're just trying to spin their narrative to think it doesn't make logical sense. How are you defeating them by paying them? Put it in your mind. Okay. Put it in your mind. It doesn't make any sense. And I will say, people keep going on about Game Pass not being that the games are not being free. Let me ask you a question. Whenever I said, hey, that the games are free, did I say, hey, Game Pass is free? Did I ever say, hey,
you've
Game
never,
Pass is free? No, but I understand the intelligence level that we're dealing with when we're dealing with ponies.
Are you saying there are low QI dudes?
Low
Is that
IQ?
what you're saying?
Yeah. No, it's not they're not really great with the comprehension. You know what I'm saying? The reading and hearing comprehension, right? They can't listen, and they can't go ahead and read and listen, right? Like they can't understand what they're reading. I never ever once said, hey, Game Pass is free. No. I said the games are free. I know that you guys are too dumb to understand, but when you pay for a service that's a flat fee, that's a bait cost, it's like a bill, right? I just have it, it's sitting there, right? Or you prepay for as much as you want. Once you pay for the service, everything they put into the service is now free to you.
For you to use at your
that is out for sale, right? You can go purchase these other games, but I do not have to purchase these games because it is in my subscription. Therefore, the game itself, subscription costs what it costs. Stop being stupid. You know better. But you keep saying the same dumbass narrative because you think that you're going to get a W by catching somebody by saying, boy, a good person not free. Nobody said it, dog. Nobody said it once. So I think you just look stupid saying that nonstop. So just keep it moving, right? Because you're wasting your breath talking nonsense. But at the end of the day, these dudes know exactly what's happening. All right. We say it on our show all the time. Understand. There's no, like, they're even stupid enough to use like that GIF wrong where they have a picture of the guy, a girl, and a dude sitting on the chair, and they don't realize that they are the ones that are getting taken. You are a platform that wasn't going to purchase Xbox games. That's the fact of what it is, right? You guys said it all the time. You were not going to go buy an Xbox, and you weren't going to go ahead and buy the games. Guess what? You dudes in here all excited. The biggest one of yous, the ones with followings, the ones with the Twitters and the YouTubes, the ones that have a voice in the PlayStation community, whatever that may be. Those are the same dudes who are out here running around showing receipts. Look what I did. I bought Horizon. I bought all the games in the Dev Direct. Look at me. Look at me. We're winning. No, fam. You're winning. Don't get me wrong. As a gamer, to be clear, right? As a gamer, you're definitely getting a W for yourself. As for sure, you've been stuck on an island, like a barren wasteland, and now you're getting fed some games that not fed. You got a new menu, right? You got a new menu that you could go ahead and buy some games for sure. You're definitely being offered the ability to pay for games now versus your platform that decides maybe one a year, maybe at this point of first part. I mean, we're being real, right? First party like platform. Not talking about second party deals. I'm not talking about all this money hatting and all this nonsense.
Well, you're talking about the mental gymnastics that they try to do.
Yeah. Remember, Ponies, when they bought the PlayStation, right? They bought it because they loved the first party studios.
At least that's what they told us.
That's what they claim, right? Yeah. So your first party is non-existent. And look, at the end of the day, again, we know that on PlayStation, there's however many boxes out in existence. These dudes that are out here in this chat talking crap or on Twitter talking crap, they make up such a small amount. Like the Ponies that we make fun of,
it's less than 10%
of the populace. There's so little.
Yeah.
Like the vast majority of people who own a PlayStation are just normal gamers who don't know any better, who just say PlayStation is the box I know, right? This is what I heard. So I'm going to go ahead and buy a PlayStation, which is great. Xbox has finally looked at that and said, you know what? Why are we trying to convince them otherwise? Let's just do what makes the most sense and take our most profitable aspect of our business, which are the games, and sell them over there. Makes sense to me. Now, guess what? All those countries that Xbox is not in, or all those countries that Xbox is so small that people don't even pay attention to them, they might not be looking for the box, but they damn will be playing those games, baby. They're going to be buying those games and playing those games, because at the end of the day, good games are what matters. And lucky for you guys, there's at least one platform that's focused on the core that is delivering high quality first party games, and that's Xbox.
Yeah.
So look, I'm glad for you guys that you guys are getting to actually enjoy good games, right? Not the same crap over and over again that's being recycled on PlayStation, right? You get to play good, and I'm talking about first party games, right? Obviously, third parties always existed, right?
And they're going to always exist, right?
Yeah. We're talking first party, right? So this Xbox is not third party; they're first party on your platform now. They're taking first party games and they're pushing PlayStation as a platform, as a first party platform, right? And they're pushing them to the side, and they're saying, no, you know what? PlayStation is now an extension of our first party, right? Now we can put our games anywhere, right? This is an Xbox. That's what that means. Wherever Xbox is, they take it over, right? People are going to look at PlayStation the same way that they look at any of these other boxes that you can play Xbox. If you wake up one morning and you realize that most of the games that you love are now Xbox games, guess you're an Xbox fan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's true. But you know something? Sin in the chat made a freaking dynamite point. And I didn't even think about this. You know, you say free. Well, Game Pass isn't free. Or is it? Because Sin was like, hey, I get my Game Pass paid up by Microsoft points. Right? You go to Bing, you do your little searches, right? You get your Xbox rewards. And I've been hearing people, oh no, I got 3 months, I got 6 months, I got a year cashing in my points. So technically, he did get it for free. He is getting these games for free because he didn't spend a dime. He played games, right? He did his rewards. He did his searches using Xbox rewards, which by the way, they just changed for the better. I'm getting points to do everything. You turn on the game, points. You play a game, points. You get an achievement, points. You do a Bing search, points. And they just keep it's like a endless cycle of points going in there. Like I'm over 200,000 points right now. And people are like, well, what can you do with that? A lot. Because I've purchased a lot of games using those points that I didn't spend a dime on. So, I mean, there's that. But look, at the end of the day, I thought it was a great conversation because there is a lot of misconception, C-Money, and people are going to try on the internet to shame you for being an Xbox player. Don't allow them to do that. You're winning. If you have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you are a winner. You are playing these games in your service. The service is $20, and you are getting highly rated AAA bombs. This isn't 2017 when they had nothing in the service. We're in 2025, and they've been dropping bombs for years. This particular year is going to be one for the record books. And mind you,
big facts.
They're going to go out of this year into 2026, which is, of course, I really believe it's going to be a 12-month celebration of the box. You're going to potentially get 2 new pieces of hardware. They're celebrating the 20th anniversary of Gears, the 25th anniversary of Chief, the 25th anniversary of the platform. There's going to be a lot going on next year, and we haven't even gotten out of freaking February of 2025, and we're already eating well. Obviously, Avowed is 7 days away. There's a ton of stuff that just dropped into Xbox Game Pass that people are lapping up, and we have the rest of the year. At least for the first half of the year, we're stuffed, right? We're going to have to get on that treadmill and kind of walk that off because after June, it is going to be now shifted into first gear and it's going to be on because the last 6 months of the year are going to have things like Fable, like the new Call of Duty, whatever that is going to be, Outer Worlds 2. And again, maybe, supposedly, that you're going to get something Gears related. There's still the Oblivion remake in Unreal Engine 5 floating around. You got Ninja Gaiden 4 in the fall of next year in Game Pass day and date. I mean, folks, do not allow the negative pricks in this community to sour you on Xbox. You are winning, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care what they say about how many console sales versus how many console sales. That's irrelevant. If you are an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, you have won, and you are continuing to win. But I do want to move on to a couple of the other stories. Now, this one is very interesting because shout out to Idle Sloth, who is another prominent member of the gaming community, constantly, like Hazardor Gaming, like Shinobi 602, like Okami 13 _. They constantly put out great pieces of news that is, quite frankly, a lot happening in a day. Well, Alan goes on to tweet, according to Nate the Hate, Final Fantasy 16 will be announced / released on Xbox shortly, not in the near future, but by around the mid-first half of 2025, around spring. Now, he goes on to say Final Fantasy VII Remake is scheduled for later this year, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is for 2026. Now, they don't have whether or not that's early 2026 or late, but it's coming out next year for Xbox. Now, again, it continues. This is not Xbox related, but I do want to read the tweet in its entirety. He says, Final Fantasy 16 is not presently planned for the Switch 2. The decision was taken to prioritize the Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth for Xbox. So they are working extra to get these 2 games out for Xbox. Now, I have heard privately, which I'll share, that they are potentially going to be making the announcement for Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy VII Remake at the same time for maximum input, right? They're not going to just do one and then the other. They're apparently what is scheduled, and I don't know when this is going to be happening, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to be announcing both games with both release dates. Now, I would imagine for, for maximum excitement is that when you're going to announce Final Fantasy 16 and 7, 16 might be a shadow drop. It may be just, hey, Final Fantasy 16 available today, go, right? Final Fantasy 7 Remake coming out September 2025, right? They give you a date. That is what I'm hearing. I believe that is going to be happening relatively soon, ladies and gentlemen. I just don't know how soon. What I kind of wanted to get, I don't have the ability with this software to do a poll. I'm actually have reached out to StreamYards. I think it should be a feature that they add because I'd like to do polls. People do them on YouTube all the time, but I just want to poll the community and get your hot take. Now, these games have been PlayStation exclusives for many, many years. They sold what they sold, right? Square Enix has come out and already said that they were disappointed with all the sales for Final Fantasy VII Remake, Rebirth, and 16 on PS5. That's confirmed, folks. And that's not me trying to rebel rouse or be an a-hole. That's facts, ladies and gentlemen. So obviously, because of the poor sales on the PlayStation 5, they have come to a realization that they can no longer deal with just the one platform, which is why they made the announcement a couple of months ago that is over. And I think more people are going to follow suit because people on PlayStation don't buy as many games as they should. And I know they rah about single player and first party and these locked up deals, but you're only getting 1 million, 2 million sales. I mean, just look at some of the stuff that was out there as exclusives last year. Stellar Blade. Can anyone tell me if it sold more than 2 million? I can't tell you that because all they said is it sold 1 million. Astrobot. Has it sold 2 million yet? I couldn't tell you because Sony isn't talking. Rise of the Ronin. What did it sell? 1 million, right? But that's all we know. So where are all the rest of the sales? And I'm glad that Square Enix has decided that gamers here on Xbox actually like their games. So I want to poll the community to see, to get how warm or cold these Final Fantasy releases are going to be for you. Are you day one? If they're not in Game Pass, are you buying them? Because I am. I'm buying them. There's not even a question about it. Community, let me get your thoughts. I'll read your messages as they come live. But see, Money, I want to get your hot take on this. Do you think that these games that were exclusive on PlayStation are going to hit for Xbox gamers? Could Xbox gamers actually purchase more of this game than PlayStation?
Okay, well, so first thing, because I know we were talking about the sales, and I know that these dudes get excited about that, but understand, like, we only talk about sales because you guys make it such a big part of your of who you are as a pony, right? They get so excited with the idea of sales, so we go ahead and we bring up the idea of, well, you're so pumped for sales, but Astrobot only did 1.5 or whatever it is, right? Like that's why that comes up. So just to be clear with that. As far as these games are concerned, I mean, listen, I have Final Fantasy 16 on PlayStation 5, and I could tell you that we've streamed the game on our channel, and at the end of the day, back then, I'm sure it's been updated now, but it overheated the console 4 times live on the stream. And then even when we were playing it, right, that game is like, it can be an amazing game and also like the wackest game ever in a span of like minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're playing it and you're like, oh, this is pretty dope. And then it's like, what am I doing here? What is this? Visually, you're in the same boat where it's like, oh man, this is stunning. And then it's like, how did we just jump to the PlayStation 2 era? Like, how did this happen? Right? Like, that is the reality of what that game is. So I don't think there's excitement for it. And it's not because it was tied to PlayStation. It's because just the game is really not. I just don't think it's it's not balanced through the whole game where it just looks good. That being said, I didn't have a desire to keep playing it, so I didn't. I know that there's people who loved it. The story that they were setting up was pretty dope. But But again, like I need the whole package. Like I can't, those moments when you go into like PlayStation 2 territory where it's like, what am I looking at, bro? Like, why are these graphics so bad? Maybe PlayStation 3. I'm being a little facetious. But still, like it's a drastic change from like the high quality parts that you see versus like the regular parts. It's like, oh my God, like what am I watching here? It's too much. So we didn't bother keeping it going. I just don't think there's hype around it. I think there's always going to be people who are like, oh, I love Final Fantasy and it's here, I'm going to buy it. I don't know if it's going to do I don't know if it's going to do big numbers. I don't think you're going to I don't think Xbox is going to save Final Fantasy 16 or Final Fantasy 7 for that matter. I think that in order for there to have been hype for that game, you can't go from the multi-platform 15 and then go to a single platform 16 and then wait a couple years and then be like, here it is. I just don't think it's that. I don't think it's that good. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's that good to
let me add an additional question to you, and I think I know where you're going with this. And Chad, I want to get your hot take on this. Is it little too late for these games on Xbox?
Yeah, man, it's too far. It's too far away, and there's too much narrative spun around it. So it's like, honestly, look, it's the same on both sides, right? Like, there's not that many people who follow the games like that. Like, there's going to be people who own an Xbox who don't even know Final Fantasy came out. Okay. And then if it does come to Xbox, they'll be like, oh shit, like that's cool. And they'll buy it. I just don't think that's a lot of people. I don't think Final Fantasy has the weight that it used to have. I don't think that name means a lot to people anymore. If anything, what that name means to most people now is like a fall from grace. The heights that it once had are not there anymore. It just doesn't get there. This Final Fantasy, they're still relying on Cloud from Final Fantasy 7. We're at Final Fantasy 16, right? The new people, who's pumped about these? Like, what name outside of Cloud has a big presence in the Final Fantasy? Obviously not the girls, right? Tifa, and I'm talking about pretty much everybody in Final Fantasy 7 are the only names, right?
Well, they're memorable characters. Almost all of them. I don't think there's one that was like, I could care less. And which is why I cannot. I'm not even going to front. I can't wait to play Final Fantasy 7 Remake on my Xbox. I have it. I have the collector's edition right here. But I got halfway through it. I'm like, you know what? There's too much going on in the world. I'm not going to beat it here. I will restart it on Xbox because that's the console I prefer to play on. I will buy it even if it's full boat. I don't care, and I'm going to enjoy the game because I love Final Fantasy 7. I love the original so much. I beat it in Japanese and in English on the PlayStation 1. That's how much I love the game. But
you're
brilliant.
A fan of it, saying, so you're an ingrained fan of it, and
yeah,
that's dope, right? How many people are still that, right? I mean, we see the sales go down nonstop. I mean, listen, even on PlayStation, like the fact of the matter is that those were exclusive to PlayStation, and if that brand had any weight, then they should have sold in a manner that would represent that, right? But the reality is that most people on PlayStation did not buy that game and didn't have interest in it.
Yeah.
So if you look at the scale, right? Because if you're not first party, you're just third party. And I'm pretty sure if you look at the scale of how it works, there's a certain percentage of people who bought it on PlayStation. It might very well translate to that same percentage of people who buy it on Xbox, but Xbox has less boxes, right? So maybe same percentage, but of less boxes, they're gonna most likely sell even less than they sold on PlayStation. Just because again, where's the excitement for it? I mean, even the dude, what's his name? The guy who makes the game, he had come on, did an interview. He's like, we're not making them, like, they don't know what they're going to do for Final Fantasy 17 because the name is not, like, they don't know what to do with it, right? They don't know what to do with the identity of this thing. I don't know. I don't know what you do to fix Final Fantasy. I don't. I think there's a lot of other games. Back then, it was like one of the few, right? There was a lot of JRPGs, but it was one of the few big ones, right? The one of the few that really kind of hit big. Nowadays, man, like I'm more pumped for Expedition 33.
Yeah, that does
You know
look
what I'm
good
saying?
though.
Like that looks like a dope turn-based, RPG, right? Like I don't know. I feel like it's a little stale to the general public now. Like there's way more games out in the world right now. Like they're not competing in the same in the same playing field as they used to. You know what I'm saying? This is literally trying to take an old franchise and keep it relevant now. And it's like, you know, I don't think that there's a way to do it. Even I see people saying, well, remake. And it's like, yeah, but even the remakes are only going to be for those people who gave a shit about them back in the day. You're not going to take that game. It's not relevant today. It's just not. It's not. Final Fantasy is not a relevant franchise in my mind. It's relevant to Square, but I don't think it's a huge like, oh my god, this is a thing that we're going to keep super investing in. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I just don't think that is that big. I think there's too much competition in gaming now, so I don't think there's going to come over here. If it comes to, I don't think it's going to make a splash in a major way. I hope I'm wrong. Like I would love for them to figure out how to make it relevant. I just don't think anyone who didn't grow up with it gives a shit about it. Like I can tell you right now, I grew up at that time. I didn't give a shit about it back then, and I don't give a shit about it now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just not, it's just what it is, right? So it was always a niche, right? And now it's a niche in an even bigger market. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a niche in a smaller market back then. Now it's niche in a bigger market. I just don't see, like, I don't know what they can do. They have to restart it. They would have to restart the Final Fantasy 16 has to be gone. That or 17. It can't be a 17. The next one just has to be Final Fantasy. Start from fresh. Start, just start back, bring back Cloud or whatever. But like he's the only one. Like you got to be able to look and see that of all these Final Fantasies, the only one that the most people would know are from Final Fantasy 7. I mean, that's just a reality. So stop doing all this other shit. Restart with them and try to figure something out to make it dope. I don't know. You gotta do something.
It's interesting, like I said, I'm personally still excited for it because look, make no mistake, Final Fantasy VII Remake is gorgeous. It is a phenomenal attempt to rekindle your personal feelings with the original. A lot of people felt the type of way because it wasn't the complete story that they were hoping for, that it's going to be released into 3 parts. I could care less. Again, for me, that's day one. Final Fantasy 16, I will probably buy, but now I'm starting to wonder because some of the things that you said about it going back, like digressing in its graphics in some areas. I hope that gets fixed on the
It's
place
really jarring. It's
on the
really
Xbox
jarring.
version.
Like
Because
go back and watch our streams where we were playing this shit. We tried to play this damn game.
That's fair.
And go watch it. It's like one moment you'd be like, oh my god, like we were watching like the intro and all that other shit. It's like, oh my god, wow. Look at this. This looks great. Oh my god, they actually did something real good. And then you get into gameplay, and like some parts of it is like, wow, this is stunning. And then other parts, you're like, what am I looking at? You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like, why is this like this? Even the skyboxes they did, you know how there's like the skyboxes are supposed to look very, appealing, right? And again, listen, maybe they there's some updates to it. I don't know. We didn't go back. But from when we were playing it when it first came out, it just wasn't. It was too much of a roller coaster. Even if you go back, and I remember listening to Randall Thor. He did a review of Final Fantasy, and if you listen to his review, you'll hear him say it as well, where it's like a 10 out of 10 game and then like a 4 out of 10 game, like all in the same game. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the problem, right? And again, listen, I just wanted to be clear, like I'm not saying that there's not going to be people like you who are excited. I know there's people who don't agree with what I'm saying, and that's fine. But the numbers are going to bear fruit, right? The numbers already prove what I'm saying, right? On PlayStation, the numbers are not there. People are not excited for that. I'm not saying that you're wrong for loving Final Fantasy. Everybody has the games that they love that don't.
Yeah.
It's not about being popular, right? Hellblade 2 was my favorite fucking goddamn sorry. My favorite game last year up until the very end where Indiana Jones just squeaked by it. But that's a niche game. There's a lot of people who are not going to play that game or even look at that game. And that doesn't change the fact that I adore it. I think it's one of the best games that were ever made. So it's everybody has their thing. I'm not judging you if you like Final Fantasy. I'm not personally saying that, if you're stupid, if you like it. If you do, great. I just don't think it's going to make a splash. That's what I'm thinking.
It might be little too late. That's really what it comes down to. Again, this is one of those deals that I'm sure they'll never say it publicly, and I don't think they could even if they wanted to. But Square Enix is kicking themselves because, again, the numbers are there, folks. PlayStation gamers did not come out in the biggest way to support these games, and that's why Square and to be fair, Square Enix basically says that about every game. It didn't meet our expectations. Now that's a them problem, right? If you have these lofty
it's
goals,
a money problem.
Yeah,
it's a money problem. So you got to remember, like I know, like we literally just talked about this, where it's like these people, like you got to remember, it matters what they're saying. Right? When they say it didn't meet our expectations, what they're saying is we spent this much money on the game and we did that because we were hoping that if we did this, we were going to make this much. If that doesn't happen and they start looking and saying it doesn't meet, what that means to you, the Final Fantasy fan, is that they're going to spend less. They're going to make a lesser version if they're doing more because they don't want to invest that amount to make so little in return. That's too much money to have gone and risking it to have such little return. That's what that means, right? When they say it didn't hit their expectations, we look at them like, they're clowns. They sold 5 million copies. Like, no, when they made that game, they were anticipating 10 million copies, right? That's why they spent what they spent. If they reduce how much they anticipate, that means they have to reduce how much they spend. If they reduce how much they spend, that means they're going to reduce something, either the length, the quality, the graphics, the audio, something is going to be degraded because they didn't meet their expectations. That is what the problem is with that. It's easy to say like that's their problem, but it's like it's your problem because if they don't meet what they expect, they're not going to deliver what you expect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's all about that ROI, which is of course return on investment.
Always, bro.
Look, at the end of the day, great conversation around. Let me just catch up on Super Chat's been quite a few of them. BT Maverick drops a very generous $5 Super Chat. And this is pretty interesting. I did not see this, Maverick. He says the PlayStation 5 Pro version of Helldivers opted not to use the Pisser upscaler and resorted to using the TAA, which I'm not sure what that is, PlayStation first-party games not using their own upscaler. Well,
that's
yeah, okay. So I know exactly what it is, but I got to tell you, folks, that's probably not a good thing.
This is not the first time. A lot of their games are either skipping the pisser. Hellblade 2. I'm not Hellblade. Goddamn. Horizon 2. Forbidden West. Their PlayStation patch, their Pro patch. No pisser. No, the pisser sucks, bro. It sucks. It's not that good.
If you invested the money in it, I did not. My brother did. He traded a bunch of stuff. I think he traded his old PlayStation 5 and a bunch of controls and stuff. He wound up paying only a couple $100 for it, which is the right way to do it. Again, if you're going to upgrade. But wow, that's disappointing. If you spent $700+ for this thing and they're not using their own upscaler. Wow.
Yeah, you have to make the game from scratch, knowing they're using the pisser because the pisser is heavy on resources. So they literally have to like go in knowing, okay, we're going to use the pisser. What's the best way to make the pisser work for our game? That's like a from scratch scenario. All these places, they added it and then they removed it because it just wasn't up to snuff for them compared to the tried and true ways that these these games have been used. So
incredible.
you know,
That's again, if you would the money, I feel sorry for you because there are no games that are being designed. I mean, I'm sure that they're in the works now, but the next one for them is of course Ghost of Yotai, which day one for me. I can't wait. A lot of people are going to pass on it because of the whole DEI stuff, which is
I'm waiting to see what it is. I'm waiting to see what it is. If I look at that game and listen, they showed us that one trailer. I don't think that it's not possible for them to come out with a new trailer that does well, and I'll judge it when I see more. But based on the first one they showed, if that is what the game turns out to be, I'm good. I'd rather go back and play Ghost of Tsushima and finish stuff in the world that I didn't finish and spend my time doing that than going and replaying the same looking stuff. I'm so over that idea, bro. This is PlayStation 5, Xbox Series. Stop giving me leftover shit from last generation. You know what I'm saying?
It's a fair.
Stop turning your DLC into games. You know what I'm saying? Just start making next gen games. You know what I'm saying?
Fair point.
We'll see.
Sith Lord drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "I can't wait for the day that I meet Boom and see money in real life, brother. That is going to be so awesome. I'm very much looking forward to that. At
Sith,
some
go to
point,
PAX.
Yes, PAX would be definitely the next one. See money's going to be there. I'm not sure just yet, but I'm considering it for sure. Will the Insider Broke Boy Lewis drops a very generous $5 super chat. He says, I know Boom mentioned yesterday about the 150 million Nintendo Switch sales. Not sure if he had any of the additional information. They also had over $1.3 billion in software sales. Yeah, Nintendo is they just know how to make money. That their bank is deep. And Nintendo is always going to Nintendo. Torino Johnson drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, my buddy sold.
You skipped Creeper.
Oh my God. Okay, yes. So Creeper Evo X. Sorry about that, Creeper. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for the very generous $2 super chat. It says Ponies wanting that hashtag Xbox aid, and the aid in fact is incoming. In the fact of a lot of games, and like I said, I know that the beginning of 2023 did not really kind of dig that. I still kind of feel it's weird. But I also understand the big business of things, and like I said, as long as nothing's being taken away from me as an Xbox consumer, then what am I going to say, right? I'm going to bash my Xbox with a hammer. Am I going to go pay $76.43 for Forza Horizon 5 or whatever, or Indiana Jones? Come on, that's ridiculous.
No. The one nice thing that has been a side effect from this, which I am enjoying greatly, is the fact that we're not seeing the typical response that these ponies would be doing, or the pony media, where they'll go and they'll say, oh, this doesn't look great. That looks mid. That looks whack. Nope.
There is a change. There is definitely a change in the media for sure.
No one's saying anything negative about these games right now. Everybody's pumped for the games. Everybody's excited that they're getting them. Of course, obviously we mock the ponies and stuff, but just as gamers, it's nice to see that what we knew all along is the actual truth, which is Xbox makes great games. And now that they're going elsewhere, we're not seeing the slander. There's nobody saying, keep your Forza Horizon. I got my Gran Turismo. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nobody saying things like that, right? People are pumped that they're getting access to these games. It's cool to see like that world where like gaming can just be gaming.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's a great point.
So that's dope to see. Outside of the pony slander, it's
interestingly enough, one of the most pre-ordered games right now on PlayStation is Forza Horizon 5. Shocking, but not.
It was the most wish listed. It's not up for pre-order right now.
But no, not for pre-order. Wish listed.
Yeah, and it's the most trending, meaning that more people are looking for that game than anything else. Which is wild.
I'm going to be very interested to see what the pre-orders look like and what the sales going to look like on that. because remember they're not getting like a cheapy Charlie $30 edition. You're going to be paying full boat for that, and you're probably going to have to buy the upgraded edition if you want all the maps, you want all the cars. You're not getting,
And it's worth it.
It's
worth the money.
absolutely worth it. What are you freaking kidding me?
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
Game's phenomenal. It's going to instantly become the best looking game on PlayStation when it drops.
And that's Xbox first party. Again, think about that. Torino Johnson drops a very generous $5 super chat, and he says this: my buddy sold his PlayStation 5 for the lack of games, and his wife got angry. He asked why she doesn't even play, and neither does he. She said to say that they have one. I mean, I guess I have one. I wouldn't sell mine because I do still play on it. But if you're not using it, it's, it is what it is. But J Mac, who's been a channel member, check this out, folks. 39 months, bro.
J-Mac.
That is crazy generous of you. Thank you so much for all the years of support. He says this: PlayStation fanboys are working 25/8, trying to downplay what's happening to them. Xbox World Order, or XWO, is in full operation. Xbox, we winning, #Graybeards. Indeed. We have a couple of gifted memberships. One from Nino Vestic, our generous friend, all the way from Hawaii, who has done this more times than I can remember how to count. Nino, thank you so much for the generosity. We super appreciate it. We also have B_nice gifting one double barrel gaming membership. Be nice. Thank you so much for the generosity. And lastly, we have Will the Broke Boy Lewis, who simply, he drops an additional $2 super chat and says, not 1.3 billion, 1.3 billion software titles were sold.
Oh, so now $1.3 billion.
Yeah,
they sold
okay. So they sold
pieces of software.
Wow, that is.
So that means the average person on Nintendo buys around 9
or 10 games. It's the attach rate on listen, we've talked about this before. Xbox is Xbox, PlayStation is PlayStation, but I'm gonna tell you this right now: when it comes to attach rate with games console, nobody outdoes Nintendo.
And this is first party.
Yes.
Right? This is their first party games as 1.3 billion sales.
It's ridiculous. It's
everybody's selling on there.
It's crazy. And, again, the Switch 2 right around the corner. April 4th is going to be the reveal. Cannot wait for that. Hopefully, I'll be able to get the pre-orders up and ready to go because it's Nintendo and they love, lessening the pre-orders so you get all frenzied. I'm not paying more than what it is on eBay or anything. I'm hoping to get in there. At least I need one for me, obviously, but Mrs. Boom's got to get hers. Tyler's got to get his, so I got to go in for 3. I hope I can get them. But we have another super chat popped in here. Actually, we have a new member. Skalides has become a new member. That is very kind of you, brother. Thank you so much. What is it?
Scatolites.
I said Skalides. Okay, so Scatolites. Thank you very much for the for the correction. Scatolites. Welcome to the channel, brother. That is very kind of you. Oh, wow. J-Mac has gifted 5 double barrel gaming memberships. Brother, that is crazy kind of you and very generous. We certainly appreciate that very much. But listen, folks, if you are someone that is finding the channel for the first time, you enjoyed the conversation, hit the like button. If you did not like the conversation, hit the thumbs down button. What am I going to do? But I'm asking for subs because Mrs. Boom and I are officially under 350 away from 16K. That's very exciting for us. We're working hard. We're doing this 5 days a week. We're setting up our trip for June, which she's not going because she's going to be working. But I'm hoping to be boots on ground for this June's events. Obviously I'm going to get to everything. If IGN Live does something, I'm going to go to that. I'm going to try and get into, as a content creator, the Keeleys. We'll see if that happens. I'm definitely going to be getting in and covering Xbox from boots on ground with the showcase that's happening that week. I believe it's going to be between the 5th and the 9th of June. So we're working to get that done, of course. But see, Money, let's sell the brand of On Point for Gamers. Of course, it was a pleasure and an honor to meet you and Doodle at the event last week. We got to sell the brand. Where could people not only Follow both of you guys on social media. More importantly, check out the weekly content as well as subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Well, first of all, obviously, uh, it's great to be back here,
Yes.
right? We've been away for the show for a little bit, so awesome to be back. So you can catch me here Thursdays at 12 p.m. Eastern, Xlog Live with the homie Boom. And yeah, man, it was so dope meeting you, man. So I'm very, very happy that we got to do that. So that was very, very cool. And yeah, I am C Money Forever on Twitter. The lovely wife of mine, Doodle, is at Doodle to be free. So go check us out there. Of course, check out On Point for Gamers as well on Twitter. It's just On Point for Gamers. And we do have a website now, onpointforgamers.com. So
Nice,
you
very
can
nice.
go and go check that out. But yeah, as far as our show is concerned, it's On Point for Gamers, our YouTube channel. We do 4 regular shows a week. We do have, and obviously we cover any of the shows that are happening with Xbox or anything, but we also added some member only shows on Saturdays. So those have been really, really fun. So yeah, we're Sunday morning 10 a.m. Eastern. We're Tuesday night 8 p.m. Eastern. We're Thursday night 8 p.m. Eastern and Friday night 8 p.m. Eastern. So tonight is the On Point gaming podcast. Now the dope thing about tonight is that it's going to be a special one because
Nice.
it is going to be Doodle's birthday stream.
Oh, that's freaking
right. Her
awesome.
birthday is this weekend. And we're going to be off this weekend because we're going to be celebrating with her. We're going away. We're going to have a good time.
Nice.
So
Good for you guys.
we will be we'll be doing that. So tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, the homie King David's going to stop by like he did last year. We had a great show. So this is going to be our second annual Doodle's birthday bash. And it's going to be fun, man. 8 p.m. Eastern. Definitely come check us out. If you are not subscribed, do so. I did put the link in the chat so
Very
you can
nice.
come rock out with us, man. It's going to be a fun one. But yeah, man, outside of that, look out for the 11th. We have coverage for South of Midnight. Our preview will go live. And all of the interviews that we have quite a few interviews that are going to be going up. So definitely look out for that. And then, of course, look out on I believe, Boom, the 13th is Avowed.
Avowed, yes, 13th, yes.
Avowed. So look out on the 13th for our Avowed coverage. Actually, I think the 13th we'll be back here.
Yes.
So
we'll be able to talk about it. We'll be able to talk about it, which we're going to do. We'll probably, give our outtakes. There'll be some gameplay. My video is going to be. I'm producing that right now. No spoilers, of course. Either South of Midnight, no spoilers, or no spoilers.
So we can talk about both of them.
We can talk about both of them. Yeah, we'll be able to. That's going to be a big show for us. Again, get ready because I just hit level 14 in Avowed. I just crossed the 26th hour mark. It's you'll get my impressions. I'm hoping I don't think I'm going to beat it, folks. I'm going to be honest with you right now because I don't play the games like that. I spent the first 3.5 hours just roaming the countryside, and I didn't even get to the first mission. Like by the time I got there, I was already level 5.
Gotta be careful.
Yeah, no. That's no spoilers. Yeah, no. I'm not breaking any NDAs, but yeah, you'll be able to get the full Monty, if you will, on the 13th. We're looking forward to sharing our thoughts, our opinions, and of course our review of Avowed. Of course, on the 11th, look forward to the big interviews that C Money did. I didn't get a chance to interview for time purposes. I wanted to, I just couldn't get it in there. But my coverage is going to be the presentation that I recorded and I'm able to use where they broke down the lore. I got a chance to listen to the art director of Avowed and the team from Canada the movie house that actually made the trailer for the game, which is available for you to see. It's all stop motion. It's brilliant. I have how they did that as well. What is it?
Clyde Henry Productions.
Yes, Live Henry Productions. So yeah, we're gonna
get
it again. I'm gonna put those out as 2 separate videos as well, and I'm looking forward to sharing. And we are looking forward to sharing our experiences with Avowed as well as South to Midnight. Next week is going to be like very exciting, and we're here for it, ladies and gentlemen. But a big thank you to everyone that tuned in. A big thank you to all of these super chats and donated channel memberships. That is incredibly generous of you fine folks, and Mrs. Boom and I truly appreciate it. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you, and that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And they would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of X Vlog Live.